All right, here we go. So this was initiated as a response. Well, the catalyst for the idea of this video was actually from a recent one by Basement Bodybuilding, where he discussed, or the question of the video, I suppose you could say, was, is chasing performance effective for hypertrophy? And there he went over some of his history with strength sports again, where he had gotten some big numbers, especially on the deadlift on the big three, while trying to get big, falling into the trap that myself and many others had fallen into of get strong to get big. Into the idea of this video, which is about taking accountability for what you actually view online, and even pruning your subscriptions and your follows and such. Something I had to do in order to stay on track now that I finally realized what it is that I wanted with my lifting career. He expressed this in his video, Basement Bodybuilding. People in the comments were expressing this as well, along with many other channels and comments on videos on channels have all expressed a very similar thing. It is that strength and performance focused channels, so powerlifting channels, strongman channels, and probably even several others, wouldn't be sorry if Olympic lifting and calisthenics and any other number of channels have sidetracked many lifters. They still have good information, quality content, but in them talking about what they were interested in, the strength, the competitions and such, their excitement got me excited about it and eventually had me convinced that I wanted to pursue that. Even having times where I would basically mock the idea of, let's say, arm training, for instance, or a lot of isolation movements, and I was like very much a compound guy. Where some of my workouts, some of my training sessions a couple years back were like a one massive superset of, I think one of them in particular was front squats, barbell rows, and weighted dips. Would do one or the other, and it was like 6 rounds of that or something. It was pretty much the entirety of the workout, the whole trying to minimalist hit as many muscles as you can, and time efficiency and that type of stuff. I had gotten sidetracked into that, which was put in my head from those strength and performance based channels for years. I wished it had happened sooner, where I had been able to realize how viewing these other channels sidetracked me. I was basically blind to the whole phenomena at first. I didn't realize what was happening to me until I encountered what I like to call the Swoley quintuple, which I have to smile at myself. I'm really proud of that name, the Swoley quintuple, which for me, the ones focused are 5 channels, 5 guys that have been all focused predominantly around hypertrophy. And they are Alex Leonidas of Alpha Destiny, Jeffrey Verity Schofield, Basement Bodybuilding, who his video was the catalyst, as I said, for this, Natural Hypertrophy, and Bald Omni-Man. There are definitely plenty of other quality channels out there for like natural lifters and even for natural bodybuilding, but those were the 5 that got me in the right direction. And in particular, it was Alex Leonidas with Alpha Destiny, and his Naturally Enhanced program was the first time I had ever gotten on a program that was focused heavily around hypertrophy and bodybuilding, even though there were lots of performance aspects in there, and his channel his interests still hold lots of performance goals. He wants to be generally strong and generally good at a lot of things while still being a natural bodybuilder. But that program, focusing on targeting specific areas of the body with lots of isolation and even deprioritizing other areas, including deprioritizing volume for some big lifts, was my first serious experience in a quality program that wasn't just tons of compounds and just get strong to get big. I mean, he still believes you need to get strong to get big, but there was heavy emphasis on volume, on exercise variation, on isolating, lots of bodybuilding concepts that I had never had thrown at me in a program before. That started it. And of course, how YouTube works. Once you start watching one, you watch the others. And by being introduced to the proper viewership, the proper subscriptions to watch, the proper videos, the proper things to follow on Instagram, it ended up, not changing my mind, but awakening me to what I had always wanted for years, ever since I was a kid that had first started trying to exercise. And it finally dawned on me through the help of watching the proper videos, the proper channels, following the proper people. It reminded me that I had always just wanted to focus, first and foremost, on building the body, building the physique. Steve Reeves being possibly definitely my very first inspiration of any bodybuilder, and one of the very first physique inspirations I ever had. Even have multiple or I don't know how many books he has, but I have 2 of them that I've read over the years, and were actually the foundation for some of my very first workouts, like 13 years ago as well. So finally realizing that was what I wanted, it allowed me to revolutionize my training, both because I had clarity of mind of being able to pursue what I truly wanted, but also all of the knowledge from these new channels I had found on how to program properly and how to focus on bodybuilding, on hypertrophy. Completely redid how I was able to do my training, which both made the process more enjoyable for me, but also it meant that by hyper-focusing on what I actually wanted, I got the results I wanted faster, which also made me happier and made all of it better. The process was more enjoyable because the workouts focused on what I wanted, and I got better results sooner than I had been before. So it changed everything just by intaking that new proper information, that new influence. And after I fully accepted the fact that I only cared about the hypertrophy and the bodybuilding, and was able to give up what I thought were my goals for strength and performance. For instance, I had accomplished a 300-pound bench, like right before realizing this, in the midst of running Naturally Enhanced, where he encourages you to max out on variations regularly. Running the program, I hit 300 pounds on the bench. After running that program and going through this process of introspection to realize what I actually wanted, I realized my top priority was not getting super strong, was not getting a super big bench or deadlifts, etc. So 15 pounds away, 15 pounds away from a 3-plate bench, I dropped building my bench.
I am not coming in behind you again, old man. Yeah! Woo! I won, baby! What are you doing, kid? That's what I call racing right there. Bravo, el mio amigo. Way to go, buddy.
There's a lot of love out there, you know, man.
And after I began to more and more accept what I did and did not want, I then did the next very important thing, which was begin to go through my YouTube and go through my Instagram and unfollow anything that was no longer relevant to me. I do remember a few things in particular on Instagram. I unfollowed things like the strength hashtag, the strongman training hashtag, and multiple accounts that focus primarily on the big 3 or like strongman stuff, or things that weren't relevant to hypertrophy, because there was no enjoyment for me, but also I didn't want to continually get sidetracked. So I've been pruning my selection of the content I watch, been taking accountability for what I watch, because I still know I'm vulnerable to getting sidetracked by others people's excitement for their goals and their strength training and their performance and their sport. And they may show genuine love for that. And me watching those videos, I can still get sidetracked and start to slip those things into my training and take me off course. Which, viewing back to the couple of competitions I have run, I realized I wasn't willing to admit this to myself at first. But looking back, I realized I always saw those competitions as getting in the way of the training I wanted to do. And I was almost waiting for them to be over so I could get back onto my hypertrophy training. Now that I can look back and realize, like, those suppressed thoughts that I effectively have, I didn't dwell on them much because I wanted to focus on getting it done, on trying to do the best I could. Now that I look back, I realize it really felt like they were just in the way and I was waiting for it to begin so I could start the new program, experiment with the new like lifts and splits and all of this other stuff I truly wanted to do, even though it was not about going into competition or going on stage. It was just for me. But that is what I truly wanted. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Yeah. So along with unsubscribing and unfollowing things that I realized were no longer relevant and were sidetracking me, even the people I do follow, not only for the Swole Quintuple, but also other relevant quality lifting channels that I follow as well, sometimes they will post stuff that is specific to strength. Like, I think it might have been Alexander Bromley that posted a video about like a tier list for best bench press accessory movements for strength or something. And as soon as I saw strength in the title, I was like, not watching that. I need to stay on track until I have am solid on making sure I no longer get sidelined by other people's goals and other people's excitement. I need to selectively not watch some videos, even though he has excellent quality stuff, like lots of experience, knowledge, all of that good things. I don't want to get sidetracked by focusing on strength at the wrong times when my passion is the hypertrophy training. That also means for some guys like Bald Omni-Man and Alex Leonidas, since they still, as much as they like doing natural bodybuilding hypertrophy training, they still have lots of performance stuff in their goals, in their videos. So those guys will sometimes bring up like strength numbers, performance metrics, and I have to be consciously aware of that's their excitement for the moment. I can't let their excitement for wanting to pursue those performance metrics sideline my training unless I decide to make things interesting, taking a small detour to peak for a few weeks just to test out how much my hypertrophy training has led into my strength stuff. But outside of doing that, I just have to stay focused, because even doing that small detour would still slow down my long-term progress ever so slightly. But if it keeps things interesting and keeps me training, that's the important part. But being conscious of what you're watching, I mean, it's pretty easy to make this an analogy for the rest of life, but I'm trying to keep this on topic for your lifting goals, whether it's hypertrophy or not. Being very conscious of who you follow, and even of the people you follow, which of their videos you watch, and being aware of what they say and do, the type of effect that has on you, is very pivotal, because it is incredibly easy to follow multiple quality channels that are pouring their passion into something, and slowly, bit by bit, their passions and their goals start to influence you, and 6 months, 3 years later, whatever it is, you suddenly look back and realize, I haven't been training for what I wanted to train for. And that is something I was doing for years. I kept getting off track again and again and again because I was not conscious of this process whatsoever. And by being conscious of it, both in terms of following or not following certain accounts, but also in even of what you do follow and you do click on, being conscious of how you internalize it, how you process it, actually leads into another concept that I got from, well, binge watching natural hypertrophy. I can't remember what video it's from. That guy has so many videos and they're so long. Who knows which one I heard this from. But it was talking about the ecosystem that like fitness YouTube has between all the viewers and the actual creators. The creators have the power to influence the viewers, but the viewers are the ones choosing to watch the creators, therefore giving the creators power. So there's that kind of symbiotic relationship. And by you consciously choosing what to watch and being aware of the effect it has on you, you are not only helping make sure you stay on track for your goals and aren't getting sidelined by others, but you within your own little sphere are actually having an impact on the greater ecosystem for YouTube fitness. So if more people were able to do that and not easily get sidelined by what other people want to do and want to watch, and realizing that, oh, I'm just watching this fitness channel purely for entertainment, it's not benefiting me. Or it could even be a case of this guy loves bodybuilding, but I just want to compete in whatever the strength sport, and he's getting me focused on the wrong things. Or like in my case, people trying to talk about how to get bigger numbers on XYZ when I just realized, no, I just want to like build more. Us being more conscious with those decisions can, in the long term, actually help steer YouTube fitness in the right direction. But it all starts with us and not being passive viewers. We need to be active viewers in making sure we understand why we're watching what we're watching. Because for me, like now that I finally realized it in me to get the results I want, I'm getting effects. Like I'm gonna have to start getting new shirts, not because my belly's getting too big, but because my arms are no longer going to fit in the sleeves of shirts and the buttons are having a hard time when I'm moving around because my back's getting too big. That was never a problem before when I was blinded by all these other people's goals. But now that I'm able to laser focus on what I want, it is making a huge difference. So I'm just hoping this isn't too much of a ramble. And again, I already know that if you're in this space, you're used to people going on a whole lot longer than this. So let's make sure. Yeah, I think that about covers it for my notes. For your own benefit, you need to be aware of who is influencing you and choose who you watch and who you follow accordingly. And in doing that, not only will you be able to better get what you want out of your effort and your time in your lifting career, but there's also very likely going to be the side effect of you slowly helping change YouTube fitness to be less of the general cesspool it is. So let's work on that together.